Hi, I'm Holly Matthews. I'm here with Apollo and Coulter, and we are talking about being empathic and sensitive. So what are some of the attributes of it? I wanted to start this just by sharing my story. My whole life I'd been accused of being very, very sensitive, and it was used in such a negative term that I felt bad. I tried to not be so sensitive. And I noticed that after so many years, I just started shutting down, and I tried conforming to other people, and I noticed that I was having difficulty in relationships, and I was caretaking too much, and eventually the toll started to take its effects on me, and shutting down more and more and more, I ended up becoming incredibly ill and bedridden for 3 years. This was just because the toxicity levels of me letting other emotions into me just did its number on my body. During that time, though, by being shut down, I had nothing else I could do other than tune into spirit. And when I did that, I began to find the answers of what was wrong in my life. And that was, I was a sensitive. I did have abilities. And until I addressed those abilities and learned how to control them and harness them, I wasn't going to get physically well. So this took a process of a couple of years. I was able to learn more about energy and nutrition and then especially became the processing. And this next bit of information that I'm going to share with you literally came to me in a vision about 4:30 one morning a few years ago, and I was very specifically told the processing of emotions and how to do that. Since then, I've been teaching other people how to do it. I'm glad to say I'm back healthy and functionable again, and so much wiser.
You're in the pink now,
I'm
Holly.
in the pink.
You look so good.
You're in the pink.
I'm actually
very attractive.
blue today, but
Yes, blue is your color, girl.
oh, it is.
So folks, what this show is about is for you to check in with yourself and see if perhaps you're empathic and what it's like to deal with that. And have you ever thought about that? We want you to take a listen to these attributes and see if it speaks to you in a way that you can understand yourself better. That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah.
We all have emotions.
Yeah.
And then there's a level of this where we're paying attention to our emotions so much that we begin to become empathic. Empathic is just having empathy for what is going on around you, being able to tune in to other people's emotions. A lot of people do this without even realizing that they have this ability. So hopefully today, by some of the descriptions that we give you, it'll give you a better idea as to whether you are empathic and where you're at on your psychic development.
And most people have the ability to be empathic. It's part of our nature.
It is.
So
it's pre-built.
And there are negative, of course, and positive attributes that can go with that. Anything you can use to an extreme. It's all about balance. Most people need to sensitize themselves and become more empathic, I think.
So true. And people who are empathic tend to be very sensitive to everyone and everything around them. Mm-hmm. They've often been told that they're too sensitive, just like I was when I was a child. And I remember my father saying to me, you need to be more like me. And I tried to be more non-feeling like he was, but it just hurt.
They did a study on mood transference and emotional transference, and where if there are employees in a business setting that was down or depressed, other people picked up on that unconsciously. So we all do that. We affect each other, and certainly empathics can be very sensitive to these kinds of transference.
Taking that same information, you can also reverse that to where if there is an unpleasant situation at work, you can always turn that by being more positive, more lighthearted, more playful. You will find that you are lifting the spirits of those around you.
This is the important thing about being more positive in the world, because it transfers everybody else too. Yeah, go ahead.
It certainly does.
Absolutely. And empaths they feel deeply for other people's pain and suffering. We see this all the time where we have clients and people coming into our classes who they feel maybe the negative pole of earth, the fear of some sort, or all the emotions that don't feel good, and they bring it in, and then guess what happens? They shut down. And we don't want that to happen. We want you to be picked up, learn how to process these emotions, learn how to release the sad or upset feelings with practice. But there's empaths there. They can also be in the positive. They can be keenly affected by art, music, nature, anything of beauty. And empaths can also be very loving, very caring, kind people who want to just please others and make others happy. That's me.
Exactly.
That sounds like you, Coulter.
They also, though, you'll find them avoiding any kind of conflicts or confrontations with me. I just shut down the second a confrontation comes about, or anybody who's a little bit upset. It's just like I just shut down.
Yeah,
Those are actually barriers that are coming out because we have a difficult time releasing any kind of sad or upset feelings. We really, really have to practice being able to do that.
Yeah, empathics don't always have thick skins.
No. That's a good thing. Empathics also tend to do a lot of volunteer work. I find that when they come into the office, they're almost always into counseling or teaching, work, nursing. That's a big one that they do. They're wanting to be able to serve others because they can feel their pain. They're trying to lighten their pain or be able to touch them on such a deep level. At times they can have a tendency to be just a little bit overweight.
So
usually
that's why I'm overweight, huh? I'm sensitive.
It's the right around the middle.
a little pooch around my spare tire.
That's exactly.
I'm sensitive.
That's your sensitive protection tire right there.
Now I know what it is. I thought those were cheeseburgers. Those Twinkies.
We build up.
Whole wheat Twinkies, by the way. Whole wheat Twinkies.
Oh gosh, that sounds awesome.
It's a metaphysical show. Whole wheat Twinkies.
So we build up the weight around the center just as a protection or a shield, just even though thinking that it's going to help us, in some ways it might. But a nice thing to be able to practice too is if we are getting too much information coming in, you can just simply put your hands over your midsection, just right underneath your rib cage there, putting your hands over there. It'll tone down whatever's coming in. If you're in a
good idea.
Situation that's a little bit heightened or there's some higher anxiety going on there, just cover up your midsection, take a couple of deep breaths, center yourself again, realize you're not a part of the anxiety, you're just observing the anxiety. It's kind of a helpful thing to do.
Most empathics don't enjoy being around large groups of people like malls or meetings.
It's too much.
They're psychic sponges. They're picking up and absorbing energy everywhere.
I think that's probably why it's so important for us to have protection. Because and have the tools of how to protect ourselves. It's not that we're shielding ourselves from everyone. It's we're learning to filter through on what's ours and what isn't ours. As we pick up what isn't ours, which are heightened states of emotions or any of the negative emotions, then we just want to learn how to process those, which is exactly what we're going to be doing when we come back.
And my story with understanding how important this really is I used to be in a lot of business settings, and I used to take out not have those boundaries of protection. I used to take on people's fears and people's worries and people's doubts, and it'd make me feel stomach problems, and I'd get ill. I'd feel guilty, autoimmune diseases, just all these feelings and emotions that I just took on from everybody. But then I learned to flip it around and learn to be more empathic, to sense what other people's are feeling. I'm rubber, you're glue, bounce off me, sticks to you. I just wouldn't let it touch me anymore. And life was just easier. It was smoother. It was better.
Yeah. That's so true, Coulter, because the people who come in who have lived a life of not knowing how to protect and to release, they come in usually having severe stomach problems, digestive problems, or they're chronically ill and they've been through the medical community and they can't find anything wrong with them.
Hypochondriacs.
Once you teach them, oh my gosh, have I ever been accused of being a hypochondriac? It's because I truly am picking up on other people's symptoms and then my body starts to mimic those. Mental illness is another thing that comes up, or especially depression for sensitives, because they just become overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And when they do that, when your body hits overwhelm, it sets into the adrenals and chronic fatigue. And the adrenals are right there around that empathic center, that solar plexus chakra, which is where we receive all of our information about our emotions. That's where you feel emotions, folks. It's not through your heart. It's not through your head. The emotions come in through that stomach area. Mm-hmm. So
we've got a lot more in store for you, and I can't wait for you to hear what Holly has in terms of solutions to how to process really powerful, sometimes even negative feelings.
And also, learning protection against unwanted emotions. We'll give you some tips and tricks on how to release the negative energies in your life, how to feel the more light and more love that you need in your daily lives. We're the Quantum Crew. We'll be back soon.